Hello, everyone. Welcome to Agile Principle Run and Cut. How you doing, Roy?
I'm doing awesome, Phil. How about you?
I'm doing well. We got a topic today that is more about responding to change. And I'm curious to know what you think, Roy. Let me just beam it up real quick. Responding to change over following a plan. So are these folks saying we shouldn't have a plan in the Agile Manifesto?
Well, Phil, Agile is all just cowboy coding, right? That's the way that works. We don't plan. We can't plan out more than the next 5 minutes. So no, that's not true. And I really hate hearing that teams, people in the Agile community that give us a bad name,
Yeah.
saying we're Agile, we don't plan. That's just nonsense.
Yeah.
You plan like crazy in Agile. You plan a lot more in Agile than you do in Waterfall. It's very,
Hmm.
very disciplined, very structured. That's absolutely, utterly nonsense that you can't have a long-term plan. And the other thing is that we can't make dates. We can't tell you when things.
Yes.
Yes, of course we can. That's nonsense. I can't ever imagine a stakeholder saying, "Oh, just get it done when you get it done." That's just not going to happen, and it's not appropriate for a team to expect that to happen. It's
Uh-huh.
just not going to work, right? So we have to be able to give dates, and that requires planning, right? And what I would like to suggest is that planning is important not just to be able to give dates, but it's also important so that we know how to do the job, that we know what we're doing. I can't do my job without some kind of a plan. At least at a high level, I need some kind of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is all about. So absolutely, we plan in Agile. We do more planning than we do in waterfall or traditional approaches. But we also recognize that the plan is only good for a certain period of time. As soon as you start implementing that plan, you're going to start discovering things. Impediments are going to happen, changes are going to happen, all kinds of things are going to happen, which is going to have an impact. So you've got a couple of choices when some kind of a change or some kind of an impediment happens to us. You have two choices. One choice is to do whatever you can to get back on plan, right? So, change the world, bend reality, do all kinds of crazy things, work extra hours, whatever you got to do to
Mm-hmm.
try to get back onto plan. Or there might be an easier approach, and that is perhaps we can change the plan. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about how would the traditional predictive community react to changing the plan, Phil? What do you think?
You would be met with a little bit of resistance, to put it mildly, probably a whole lot of resistance. And again, to previous episodes where we've talked about how much effort you put into planning everything, or planning majority of it, front end planning, it's becoming old because things change so dramatically and quickly these days that you need to keep your options open for when you plan. Not that you won't plan, but when you plan is of the essence. So instead of spending 100 hours upfront planning, maybe spend 10 hours planning at first, and then another 10 hours downstream, and then another 10 hours. But we don't do that in the world of predictive. Predictive has a bad rap for planning everything. And it has its place, Roy. We're not saying
Oh,
that you shouldn't do
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Like we've looked at the Stacy complexity model on this show before, and we know that there is a place to plan everything up front, or
Yeah.
almost everything. But is that helpful in most projects today with how technologies change and things? I mean, look at this pandemic and what it's done to companies. So what about
Lots of
companies that
change.
spent 1,000 hours planning everything before this pandemic? I wonder
Yeah.
where they are today with their little plans. Probably nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see how much time they would spend it on change control for a pandemic.
Yes.
It's just, yeah, it's not gonna help you. So yeah, so plans are gonna change, right? And you're right, there is a place for it. There is a place. I mean, if you're building a building, right, then there is value in having bigger plans, right? There's value in doing that. We're not saying everything is like software, it's not like that. There is value in doing all that, doing some of that planning, at least most of that planning. But even in those more restrictive spaces, there's still change that happens.
Yep.
So we need to adapt in those cases as well. What we're really trying to say here is that planning is important. Let's not stop planning because planning helps you. It gets you predictability. It helps you understand what you're doing, what the expectations are, your definitions of success. Lots and lots of value in planning. So let's continue planning, but expect change is going to happen because it will. Change is going to happen. In fact, there's a quote that I use in all my training sessions. Phil, you're probably tired of hearing me tell this joke. It's actually a quote that I use. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. It's by Mike Tyson. Of all people to quote, right? It's Mike Tyson. His quote is, "Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face." Right.
Mm.
So that's the reality. Is that things are going to happen. You're going to get punched, and you're going to have to be able to adapt to those changing situations. So let's be smart. Let's do enough planning that we can go off and build something, and we can start experimenting and learning, allow some change to happen, and then modify our plans along the way. So it's a major mindset shift that you actually can be predictable with less planning. That's the key takeaway here, is you can actually be more predictable with less upfront planning, and simply because we expect things to change. So we're going to spend less time managing change and more time allowing that change to happen. Right? What are your thoughts, Phil?
I love it. I'm running with everyone has a plan until boom. Well, we have a plan, and our plan is for you, our friends, to send in requests for what we talk about on this show. Remember, it's all about offering value to you. We want to hear from you, so don't forget to share this. Like it, please, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us to get the word out. And, we bring it to you raw and uncut and unfiltered. And that's because very few people bring it to you raw and uncut and unfiltered. And that's why we brought this to you. So from me, bye for now. And from Roy,
take care.